So, tonight's topic of conversation in the healing room is the power of intuition. And I think I have a lot of information on this topic since I've been following my intuition since my early teens, um, when a voice started talking to me. And I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, oh, this is just what happens inside of our minds, that different voices will speak. But the reality is I was being communicated with. And, for whatever reason, I chose to honor and follow this voice. And it has led me on quite the wild journey in this lifetime. And so it doesn't come all the time. It comes very specific moments to keep me on path when I'm about to go perhaps in a different direction than my destiny. But nonetheless, it's been my constant companion all these years, and I'm actually writing a book about all these stories at this moment. So, intuition essentially is communication from our higher self, our soul. It is information that comes to us when we are open, available, receptive, and it can come quite quickly and spontaneously. So if you don't have the awareness of what intuition is, then you can miss it as it is like kind of like a butterfly just coming into your sphere of consciousness. Butterflies just come and flitter in and then they're gone. So the reason why meditation is so important is because it slows us down enough so that we increase our awareness of each moment. So that witness consciousness is critical in order to be receptive to intuitive guidance, intuitive insights, feelings, because the mind is chattering all day long, right? And we have all this information coming at us from so many different directions: the computer, the news, media, people around us, that we are constantly barraged with an onslaught of information. So if we don't have that central channel activated and grounded, if we're not grounded in ourself, in our body, we can miss these subtle cues that arise. So, when my voice speaks to me, it'll just say something right quick. And I have to slow myself down and go, what was that? What was that statement? And then I have to write it down so I can be with it, so I can drop into that guidance rather than what the mind has a tendency to do because it thinks it's running the show, right? It thinks that what is real is what it can experience via the five senses in this visible reality. That's what's real to the mind. So when information arises, when intuition arises, it wants to immediately discount it because it doesn't fit into the domain of what it knows. It just tends not to fit. And so it discounts it, overrides it, and moves on. But the reality is that information is informing us of what our path and what our purpose is. We have a soul purpose. We have our contracts that we came here to deal with when we came into this incarnation. So our intuition is informing us of what the path is to fulfill the soul's purpose. And so we train the mind to let go and to expand in consciousness that it may be ready, willing, and able to receive the information that arises in each moment spontaneously. So we sat in meditation for 15 minutes at the beginning of this call, but the goal is to always be in meditation, always be calm, relaxed, present in the body, open mind, open heart. When we're in this position in the world, our receptors are open to receive guidance in many different ways because guidance is always communing with us. Intuition is always unfolding. And so it behooves us to master this piece of meditating in each moment, of having the witness active in each moment, so that when these insights come, when these intuitions arise, we can take a hold of them and then act on them. This is the key. So, how does intuition arise? What are the various ways? So, one of the first ways is a voice can speak to us. Sounds like our mind, but it's not our mind. And this is why we all need to become very familiar with the voice of our mind so we can distinguish when the mind is talking, when the mind is resisting, when the mind is in a pattern, when the mind is in the past or the future, versus when we are receiving guidance from our inner voice. So that distinction, because a lot of people ask that question, how do I know it's not just my mind making up a story? Well, because you've done the inner work to know your mind and its limitations, to know when the mind is infiltrating the present moment versus your higher self coming through and guiding. It's a practice. It's an everyday practice of strengthening that muscle of trusting the guidance when it comes through. So it can come as a voice, it can come as a gut feeling, this inner knowing that I have to do something. I have to act on this. There's numerous stories of people who are about to get onto planes and something, this force field inside them just stopped them at the moment they were going to get on. And they got this very eerie feeling like, I don't want to get on this plane. And because they followed that intuition, their lives were saved because something was imploring them, an impulse came through them in their physiology to say, do not move forward. And they couldn't explain it. They don't know why. They just acted on it. And the plane tended to have an accident. So in such a situation, our lives can be saved by these impulses that arise. Another way that it comes is it can become through visions, through pictures, and the ideas dropping into your mind. And it's like, oh, I am seeing something here that needs to be done, and I'm going to let this vision unfold. So depending upon what our inner strengths are, our intuitive inner strengths are, we will have one of these ways that we access our guidance and our intuition. And some people can stay with that one experience, and others can have all those ways, all the clairs, right? The clairvoyance, the clairaudience, the clairsentience. These are also no other ways that we can call our intuition. So I have all of them operating at the same time because I've been doing this since my teen days. I have cultivated this relationship with the spiritual realm, with the invisible friends, what I call the invisible friends. And because I've done that, I am continuously attuned to my higher self and soul so that I am always open to receiving guidance in each moment. And it can be overwhelming at times because I'm so open that I get insights and information on many levels. I have to actually pull back a little bit because books will come through, musicals will come through. This is what happens when we open ourselves up to the spiritual realm, is that we then become one of the vehicles where they want to disseminate all the information. So I have to pick and choose what I'm going to do with all the information that comes my way because I'm just one human being in this world. So I will say, try to send that musical to somebody else because I don't have time. I'm busy writing books and seeing clients and teaching classes. but I can still see it. I can still see the download in my consciousness waiting for me. And so I'm like, I see you. I know that there's not a lot of people that could bring in this particular piece of information, but it's going to have to be put on hold. I'm not stressing myself out to try to accommodate all the information that's coming through. So the more you open up to your intuition, the more you will find yourself a multi-sensory, multi-dimensional soul in a body, as opposed to a third dimensional carbon-based five-sensory human being. The more you attune to your higher self and your intuition, the more you will be a multidimensional being in this world of limitation, which means you will have a very different experience than most people in this world, because most people are operating from the five sensory place. From this is the only reality that is. It can't be. It's all an illusion. How can this be the only reality? So once you understand it's all an illusion, then we go, okay, if this is an illusion, what is my point here? What is my purpose in this world if it's all going to end at some point, if this body won't be here at some point? What is the purpose of this experience? And the purpose is to come into this reality, fully absorb it, fully have the experience, then awaken, open up to your higher self and soul. Commune vertically. So the horizontal current is the third dimensional world where most of us get stuck. The maze of Maya, I call it. So we have to be in the world knowing that we're not of this world. And how we do that is we tune in to the vertical current, to higher consciousness, to our intuition. And that's how we're able to get the GPS, the spiritual GPS for our soul. What we're here to do will come from that current. And then you'll be clearly on your path to your destiny. I am fully a believer that we have a destined path here, that we have something to accomplish. And when we do that, things seem to flow. We're in this spiritual river where everything flows. It doesn't mean we don't have setbacks and we don't have lessons to learn. But regardless of that, we're in this flow where everything keeps moving at a nice pace. We have coincidences, we have synchronicities, our needs are met as they arise. This is how you know you're on path and on point. And our intuition is the spiritual GPS to ensure that we are on this journey, on this destination path that we're here to fulfill. So, what else on intuition? If you are having a challenge feeling like you have access to your intuition, there's a way you can work with it by activating it, by saying, if it serves my highest good, give me 3 clear signs that this is what I am to do. So years ago, I was invited to Florida by my mother, and I really didn't want to go. My personality was like, nah, I don't want to get in a plane. I don't want to deal with it. But I know, do not operate from that mindset, from that contraction. Ask, because I was attached, I didn't have clarity to tune in, right? I was attached to a result. I didn't want to go. That attachment clouds one's intuition. You're not going to access clear guidance if you have an attachment to a result. That attachment becomes a filter to clear guidance. So because I was attached to not going, I said, give me 3 clear signs that it serves my highest good to go to Florida. And I went for a walk soon after. And within moments, I see a sign, a billboard sign on the side of the bus terminal. And it says, someone loves you in Florida. And I'm like, all right, that's a clear sign. And then I go into a store. I went to the shoe store to get my shoes fixed, and I just happened to glance on the wall where there was a cup that said, "There is so much sunshine in Florida." And I was like, all right, I'll take that as a positive sign. And then I walked out of that store, and walking towards me was a person with a t-shirt on that said, I don't know, it said something positive about Florida. So I was like, all right, you cannot make this stuff. My mind could be like, oh, that's just a coincidence. But how can that be a coincidence when I said, give me three clear signs that it serves my highest good to go to Florida? And within a matter of 20 minutes, I get three clear signs. So that's the way the mind can interfere with the guidance, is that it just makes up a story of it's just coincidence. It doesn't really mean anything. Why would I do something like that? And on it goes. But that's the limitation of the perception of the mind. And our goal is to blow the mind open to the point where it no longer is running the show, where the mind becomes the witness of life. And so we give it that task. You just watch existence. I don't really care what you believe because it's all conditioning. Conditioning from school, religion, dogma, family lineage, on and on it goes. Wounds, past lives. We're here interested in dissolving all of these limitations so that our mind is hooked up to the divine mind. Because the more you practice opening your mind, opening up your heart, being grounded in the body, the more you have access to your intuition and your higher self, you get to a point in life because you're so open and clear, you get to generate reality with your thoughts, with your words, with your actions. You become a change agent on the planet because the one who observes creates reality. The one who observes is the creator of reality. And you're creating reality simply by observing it. However, as soon as you have a thought, which is now a divine thought because your mind is open, that thought immediately becomes form. That thought channels through your open mind and your open perception, and your perception creates reality. So this is the good news about really working with your intuition and cultivating that relationship with intuition. And again, the mind will come through, will argue with you because the qualities of intuition is that it's irrational. It doesn't make sense. Like when I was 23 years old, my inner voice said, quit your job, you're moving to Italy. And I was like, that's an interesting thought. I would never have that thought. I would never have that thought. I was already going to Italy for a 3-week vacation. So I said, okay, I'm going to quit my job and see what unfolds. So I did, got to Italy, and within a week, all of a sudden, something started to happen where people invited me to stay in their homes. Someone gave me a job. All my needs were met within 1 week, and I stayed for up to a year and a half. So even though my mind was like, that doesn't make any sense, I would never have that thought. I had the wherewithal to know it wasn't my thought. It was coming from somewhere significant. And something quite significant happened while I was in Italy all that time. And I got to end this very significant karmic relationship that I never even knew I had. And once that karmic relationship was completed, all of a sudden, I was sent back to New York City. So that was an example of a date with destiny, that I had to complete something with someone on this planet that seemed to be hanging over my head in order to help me progress in this lifetime and move forward. That's the value of following our intuition, our inner voices, and these impulses that arise from beyond the beyond.